Well, we're so glad you're here with us today, and happy Wednesday. We have so many special guests today and so many opportunities to learn to help improve your business, hopefully, and improve your work week. Do you want me to introduce Gabe?
Well, let me just say this about Gabe, and we're still getting our introductions finalized. We have two brothers. Their last name is Chatham, both of them. This is Miles, and this is Gabe Chatham. Gabe is the oldest of the brothers, and he serves with their family business that's been around. Gabe, is it 75 years?
Yeah, 76 years. Yep.
76 years. Wonderful story of a veteran coming back from World War II, building a home, and before he could ever move in, people wanted to buy it from him. Neat story. But basically, Gabe is here, and he's going to share from the perspective of being elected, and actually will step into the role as the president of the Georgia Home Builders Association next year. And so he's serving as vice president currently, which is a tremendous honor. But there's so many parallels between our walk and spiritual walk and faith and the building process or the building industry. So Gabe's going to share some insights there. He's also going to bring his brother Miles in on the conversation. And then we're going to go to Denver, and Jen Hamble will introduce part 3 of our project management training session. So Mary Beth, I think you're going to open with a question to Gabe. But Gabe and Miles, thank you all for being with us here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you. We really are, because you have such a family legacy. And I know your family legacy extends beyond just building, but it's also a legacy of faith and a legacy of belief in our Lord Savior, Jesus Christ. So I have a question about how, on a spiritual level, how do you balance work, home, and faith? Because I know y'all are very involved in your church and in the church plant.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us today. And yeah, that's a great question. I think it's one we struggle every day to try to answer. And we've also have a younger brother, Lance, who, praise the Lord, they just delivered their 4th baby. So they're in the hospital nearby, trying to get everything ready so they can go home here shortly. So that's their 4th child. So we're thankful for them as well. But I think it's every morning it's a wake up and all right, how are we going to manage all the important things we have to do today? Obviously trying to connect with our wives and our children, but also do the basics that we need to do for our family business on a daily basis. And then having a great foundation of the local church obviously goes a long way as well. So I think oftentimes it's trying to just think through, what does God call me to? How do I accomplish those things on a daily basis? And, how do we meet the needs of our family, but also trying to provide the living for our family and advance the opportunities for them down the road. So those are obviously questions. So it's a challenge because we're actively involved in our kids' lives, whether it's sports teams or being at the local schools for the different events that they're participating in. But also, there's great ministry that comes through meeting the families that are in our schools, that are on the ball fields where we're at, inviting them to our local church and having that one-on-one ministry. It's a really great example of, we hope and pray, the Great Commission of the as you were going. And so that's our workplace. That's again, the local community down the street, neighbors that our kids are playing with. So as we're doing that, just with an open hand, God, how do you help us walk through these challenges and make an impact in our community?
So good. Yeah, we were so blessed to have Abby Mason 2 months back, and she had written a book, Each One Reach One. And it was talking about just the everyday ways that we can meet and share the love of Christ. And y'all are certainly out there busy with your kids and your families. So what a wonderful testimony to be able to do that. Thank you.
And one of the questions I'd like to ask you, kind of a broad scale, is that are there some similarities that you found between the industry of being in the home building space and you as the father, dad, husband in trying to build a godly, wonderful, healthy, happy home?
It's a great question. And, I think there are some similarities. And obviously we know from the home building business and any of you out there, in your own home or office right now, clearly it starts with preparation of that site. It starts with the foundation, because we know if you have foundation issues down the road, that causes problems throughout the structure. And so that's not unlike a family situation. If we're not building our foundation on God's word, then clearly in time, there's going to be some cracks, there's going to be some challenges. And I think too, we see, especially in our brokerage business, when we're helping people buy or sell a house, we're talking about something called deferred maintenance. And so if we're helping somebody buy a house and there's a bunch of issues that have never been dealt with on that house, then it's going to take time, money, resources to get all that rectified. And so for us and our own families, what's the deferred maintenance? What are the things we've taken our eye off, things we need to go back and reprioritize? And so for us, it's those relationships what things we need to do, connecting with our kids and our spouse on a daily basis and making sure those relationships are solid so that the deferred maintenance isn't a major issue down the road. We see major issues in our families. Again, we're isn't perfect as anybody, so we struggle on a daily basis to do things that perfectly honor the Lord, but obviously we wake up every day, striving for that. So I do think there's some really cool connections there. Really, Matthew 7, that picture of the house built on the firm foundation. When the storms do come, and we know those storms happen on a regular basis in everyone's life, is that house set up to withstand those things? So I think that's a great picture, of what that looks like for us.
Thank you. And one question for Miles, and we'll come back and address some other things during our connection segment. And by the way, if you're tuning in for the first or second time and not familiar, you will have a chance through chat to put your contact information, your business name, your individual name. If you're in a job search or trying to, find the next career step, please let us know that as well. We want to be a safe spot, also a connecting spot to help you identify people with similar values. But Miles, you're wearing additional hats in addition to working at Chatham Homes. What department at Chatham Homes are you? Oh, marketing? Is that right?
Yeah, a little more in our brokerage business.
Okay.
Real estate business, yeah.
In addition to that, Miles, you are also taking on the role as a communications leader, pastor at First Baptist Church, Alpharetta,
Right.
which is a lot of responsibilities to juggle, but you probably see some similarities between building a strong home and a strong local church. And if you'd like to share any insights you've learned along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I lead our worship and communications team, and Jesus so often talked about, as Gabe referenced, the idea of just sort of the analogy of using a home when he talks about building a church, and even what that looks like even in the home itself. And so, we see it all starts with that foundation, as Gabe referenced. Of course, there's a song out popularized now by Maverick City and some others about, Christ is my firm foundation, rock on which I stand. And I just, those types of things, when you consider what it means to build a solid foundation, not just for a home, also for a family, also for a local church, you're reminded that through Jesus' teaching is where we find the value and the hope that we're really looking for in each of those facets of life.
Fantastic. Very good. Very clear and concise. Yeah. Thank you. And as I mentioned, we're going to come back during the connection segment. And you're going to share how people can learn about First Baptist Extension that's going into Cherokee County, this county we're in this week. So with that, we're going to turn our attention to Denver, Colorado. And Jen Hamill has joined us. Jen is the founder and CEO of Wayforth Collective, and tremendous book of business. I'll just say that they work predominantly with faith-driven entrepreneurial organizations, nonprofit organizations. They also work, for example, with Barna. But Jen spent a number of years, I don't know if I got the right number, Jen, but time at the American Bible Society in Philadelphia. And I've heard great things by some of your coworkers that we've actually had sharing their story here about you. But we would love for you to share, pick up where we left off last month, and also introduce Brandon.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I'll ask Brandon to introduce himself first, and then I'll kick it back in.
Good day, everyone from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Pray for us. We're expecting a snow squall, but it's great to be here again.
Nice. Yeah, and nice to meet those of you I haven't met before. Jen Hamill, and I live outside of Denver, Colorado. And yeah, as Wayne said, I've lost track of time. 2018, so 6 years ago, I started this business, Wayforth Collective, specifically to help nonprofits, but especially faith-based nonprofits, get their stuff done. As you guys probably know, nonprofits are often overstretched and under-resourced, and sometimes you just need that extra hand to get things across the finish line. And whether it's we do the work for them, or we coach, or we provide resources or do assessments, like whatever it is we can scale to just help them get their goals across the finish line. That's what we're here for. So this is the third part of a 3-part segment called from moving from dreaming to doing. So how to help nonprofit leaders take those visions that are beautiful in their minds. Like, how do you actually get them started? How do you take those strategic plans and actually start getting them into action, right? And in the first part, we covered the secret sauce of project management. And the second one, Brandon discussed how to plan and launch collaboratively. And today is the third segment, which good news, bad news, good news, mostly good news. But my team member, Panit Yelechko, was supposed to give this segment, but God threw us a bit of a twist. She was due to deliver her third child on December 16th, but her little guy decided to come on Thanksgiving. So, which we're very happy for. And as she is a great project manager and project strategist, she actually planned ahead and made a video just in case, which is great. But to fit the schedule for today, for today's lineup, we're just going to show a brief, like 8-minute segment of it. And I'll give you a little ramp up and I'll give you some takeaways afterwards. But in this video, you'll see Panit will introduce herself, but she'll also lay the foundation for the third segment, which is about healthy projects. Like healthy projects are ones that don't constantly feel overwhelming or draining, like where you're running around trying to put out fire drills all the time. They're intentional. It doesn't mean nothing ever goes wrong, but it means you're planning for that. And you're able to take these things in stride because you built, kind of like you're talking about the home foundation, the project foundation, the team foundation, the foundation of communication. If that is set, how you run a healthy project is a lot more feasible and easier. So I'll go ahead and tee this up and then I'll follow up, like I said, with a few takeaways.
I am Panit Yelechko, and I'm a project strategist with Wayforth Collective. A little bit more about me. Just about a little less than 2 years ago, I moved to Katy, Texas with my family, and it's a suburb of Houston, Texas. That's about 20 minutes or so from Houston, and we've just been loving it here. It's been incredible. And I would definitely describe my career thus far, the past 15, 20 years, as very eclectic. I've had the opportunity to wear many hats in nonprofits, businesses, as well as within the public sector. I've worked overseas and did supporter engagement management, raising hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars for World Vision Cambodia, as well as was a pivotal leader there for their global communications as well, and crisis communications in that region. I also had the opportunity to build from the ground up community programs for multi-million-dollar businesses, and then as well served as a public affairs specialist for the city of Long Beach, which is a local municipality back in California. So those are just some of my experiences, some highlights, just to give you a picture of what I've done so far. But also my heart is in ministry. And in fact, for the last 2 to 3 years, I've served as a care and worship pastor in a local church in Long Beach. And I just love worship so much. I love bringing people into the awareness of the presence of God, because I just believe that when people are in God's presence, they're changed. There's no way that you can meet greatness and love that knows no bound and not be changed. And so I now commit my life to doing that, with or without music, on or off stage. I just love bringing people into the awareness of God. So that's a little bit about me. So like I said, this is session 3 of our 3-part series from dreaming to doing, and we're going to talk and focus on project health. While we will dig into the foundations of a healthy project, we're going to go further, as you see here, points 2, 3, and 4. We're going to focus on these 3 things that I think are very important, very crucial for a healthy project, while also pairing it with the deadly sin of project management that I alluded to earlier in my intro. And so you're going to see how it goes hand in hand, and how, one will pull on the other. But as a seasoned project manager, project owner, accidental project manager, wherever you are in your journey there, as you're seasoned, as you're learning, if you choose the solution as opposed to committing the deadly sin of project management, you will just see such a big difference in your project journey, in your planning, in your launching, in your team collaboration work. So that's my hope for today. So we'll look at the foundations of a healthy project, the power of team alignment, staying ahead with proactive communication, and then the art of adaptability. So at Wayforth, we like to say this, and we believe it with all our heart, that a healthy project prioritizes people, clarity, and communication. I'll say that again. A healthy project prioritizes people, clarity, and communication. And those are three things. There are plenty more that could be the foundations of a healthy project, but those are three things that I think are crucial for maintaining a healthy project. Let's look at the first photo here, right? This is my image for team alignment. I don't know if you've ever been to big concerts or just know anything about an orchestra or a symphony. There's so many different pieces, so many different players. But when each person is playing their part to the same tune, there's this beautiful masterpiece that resounds, right? Right now, the Broadway musical Wicked is big. It's everywhere in theaters, and people are raving about it on social media. And it's because all these strong actors and dancers and singers, they come together and with one script and one choreography and a beautiful harmony is able to create and bring the story to life. And in the same way, your project requires every person on the team to understand what the script looks like, what the musical score looks like, and walk to that same tune. Because when a musician is playing one score, but their counterpart is playing a completely different song, obviously there's going to be a lot of discord. And so in the same way, we want to make sure that all members of your team are aligned. And we'll talk about how exactly to go ahead and do that. In the second photo, you'll see a picture of a gentleman, kind of waving this little SOS signal, right, for help. And it's this red smog. And when we talk about proactive communication, I mean, we at Wayforth are very serious about this because we believe that clarity, especially of communication, is kindness, right? The more clear that you can be with your team members, the more kind you're being to them because the expectations are now clear and everyone is on the same page. We'll talk about as well why proactive communication in particular is important and a foundation of a healthy project. And then, of course, how many of us here have planned anything? A birthday party, a PTA fundraiser, a Thanksgiving dinner, and every detail of that event has gone exactly the way that you wanted it to. I mean, some of you are probably laughing. Some of you are probably raising your eyebrows because normally when you plan, not every single detail is going to go according to plan. I mean, that's life, right? We hope that it will be. We plan the best for it, but it doesn't always go according to plan. And that's why when you're leading a project, whether you're a CEO or a mom or a ministry leader, whatever your role is, it's important to be flexible and adaptable. Because we know that that's the way to be resilient and to help steer the project towards success, even if it doesn't go originally according to plan. So these are the top foundations of a healthy project, and we're going to dive in deeper now in this next section.
And now, unfortunately, I have to leave you hanging a little bit there because that was a natural break where it would continue on. But I do love that she was ending on adaptability because we're experiencing that right now. Is she prepared for adaptability with making this video? And Brandon and I were ready to kind of ebb and flow around that and support her in that. So just to kind of give you a little taste of where she was going with this, I'll share the screen here. And Wayne is been very, very gracious and is inviting us back in April or sometime in the spring when she's back from leave and we can continue. But we do have a lot of resources in the meantime. She was going to touch on 3 of our 7 deadly sins. One is skipping the check-ins. is when people think, oh, I just put everything in the PM tool or I emailed somebody, they got it. It's going to happen now, right? Something about running projects, you're sort of constantly like checking in, looking ahead, and helping your team do what they do best by kind of looking out ahead for them. She touches a little bit on the deadly sin of skipping hard conversations, which I don't know many people who really love hard conversations. Like they wake up in the morning and they're like, oh, I can't wait to dig in on this really awkward moment. I can't wait to deliver some bad news, right? That's part of it. And the sin of actually, the sin of omission here of skipping the hard conversations and just trying to circumvent actually can really destroy your project also. About, needing to lean into what Jesus said about speaking the truth in love and how that, in tying into her point on proactive communication, how that relates to projects. And then the third deadly sin she was going to get into was skipping adaptability, which basically one size does not always fit all. Some people say, I got this template, or I was at this class, and so we're going to follow this exactly as this other person ran this project. I'm going to follow it exactly. And you can't. You have to know your team, the project, the timing, the risks well enough to be able to take some good tools and adapt them. Or have, I often think of those choose your own adventure books. I don't know if I'm too old, if I'm much older than this crowd, but when I was young, they had these choose your own adventure books, and you'd read, you get to the end of one chapter. And it was like, if you choose this, jump to this page. If you choose that, jump to that page. And that's kind of how we lay out some of the plans of getting ready to adapt and saying, well, if this happens, we'll go this route. But if this happens, we'll go this route. And it's just that proactivity and strategic thinking ahead of time. And I'm happy to share. Looks like Brandon, you're on it. Thank you, dude. Brandon already put it in the chat. If you would like, we do have this ebook for free for people who sign up for our email list called Collective Thoughts, where it's not a salesy email. It's literally, we're kind of every 2 weeks giving you practical tips to help you work smarter. And it's not just for project managers. I've heard from many people in various industries saying, oh man, this was really practical. It helped me a lot. So you're welcome to sign up for that. And if you do, you will get all the spoilers and get all 7 deadly sins before Panit returns from leave. So thank you, Wayne, for this opportunity. And thank you, all of you, for adapting and flexing with us on this one. So
Thank you so much, Jen. We always get so much out of y'all's kind of lunch and learns here. And I think the biggest word that kept coming through today was communication. Just communicate. And I know with you gentlemen and your business, that with so many arms to your business, I'm sure there's so much communication that has to go on that you can't drop the ball on that. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
For being with us. We appreciate it. So I do want to come back to Miles. We had kind of left you on the end there, and I do want to come back to you because I know that you are so busy with all the things that you're doing with the church plant, First Baptist Church, and then the business also. So I would love for you to come back and address some of those things that you're facing in bringing your faith, your work, and your family together.
Yeah, I do. I wear a couple different hats throughout the week, and that's kind of the joy of what I get to do, sort of live in my gifting. And I love what we get to do with family business. We get to work with people that we love in a place that we love, doing something that we love doing, and so that's a great blessing. And we at the church, just to give a little bit of context for those that may not be in the sort of metro Atlanta area, on the north side of Atlanta, Alpharetta is kind of been just a vibrant, growing city, and sort of the tech capital of the South. And so our church has just been right there in the center of all of it, right downtown Alpharetta. And our church for the last 5 years has seen incredible growth. And we have an outstanding lead pastor and a great team of pastors around him. And so we just began to pray, hey, what do we need to do next? We're out of room on this campus. We're going to sell kind of this downtown location and go out and build bigger in a different part of town, or are we going to just find out where God's working and what he's doing? And so we looked out here to Cherokee County, and we found we had so many people leading, and this is just, it's the fastest growing area of the state is in Cherokee County, and particularly the community of Hickory Flat. And so we had great leaders there. We saw people were moving there. And so we said, hey, we're gonna lean into that a little bit. And so we've been able to kind of do this second campus, the second location of our church. And it's been a great thing just to see, you know, people not only leaning in as leaders to serve, also people just inviting their neighbors finally. It's just a much easier thing for them to do in this community. And we're seeing the Lord change lives and do something really remarkable. And so, again, for me, it's such a great joy to be able to live in my gifting and do something that does have and make an eternal impact.
Yeah, and I think for so many of us, we want to live, work, worship, and play in the same area, you know, instead of having to be stretched out and driving all over the place, which being in a metro area, you do get used to driving everywhere.
Yes.
But after the last few trips to Atlanta, I'd like to pass on that. It's gotten so crazy just trying to go down 75. But so we're so grateful for that. So are y'all in a school right now? Y'all are.
It is. So Gabe is actually and our younger brother, they're both at that location at that campus. And yeah, it's currently in a middle school. And that means it's a setup team. It's very different than the ministry we do in Alpharetta, where we've got a 126-year-old church on a 100-plus-year-old campus. I mean, these guys are setting up and tearing down every week. But again, it's so rewarding and fulfilling when you see, you know, your neighbors coming to know Jesus and your neighbors starting to, you know, they say, we'll be baptized. Our kids are getting involved and all these things. It's just it's a great blessing.
And Miles, how can somebody learn about where they could plug in or how they could get involved? Is there a website or?
Yeah, absolutely. So firstcity.com, it's First City Church. And so firstcity.com, you can learn all about the church, the ministries there. And again, you know, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, we would absolutely love to see you. Come check us out and say, hey.
And when did the launch occur, or is it about to occur?
No, it's already took place in August. So these guys, every Sunday morning, they're up early putting up banners and, you know, getting ready for worship in a school.
Good. And which school is that?
It's Dean Rusk Middle School.
Okay, so we're in Cherokee County, and
Yes.
some people in the room here are here. So Dean Rusk, what time is the service?
11 o'clock.